Trait theory of Cattell, McCrae, and Costa. Let's start with Raymond Cattell. Cattell is born in the early 1900s and died at 1988 and was known as psychologist, master strategist. He majored in chemistry and physics but sailed his way to earning a PhD in psychology after witnessing the devastation of World War I. Cattell's major contributions are methods of observation, intelligence, and the 16PF, which will be discussed later on. Cattell categorized data gathering into three parts. He emphasized that research should evaluate cultural, genetic, physiological, and familial factors, and it must be drawn from three domains, which are the LQT data. L stands for life. Data is a collection of information about an individual's everyday behavior and reaction to life circumstances. Q stands for questionnaire data, are responses to questions about the participants' behavior and feelings. T stands for testing or experimental data, which are the subject's reactions to standardized experiments. Cattell also developed the concepts of fluid and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence involves being able to think and reason abstractly and solve problems. This ability is considered independent of learning, experience, and education. Crystallized intelligence is based upon facts and rooted in experiences. As we age and accumulate new knowledge and understanding, crystallized intelligence becomes stronger. Cattell is best known for his psychometric research into intrapersonal psychological structure. Cattell used statistical approach to study personality rather than observational and qualitative data. One of his biggest focus was in factor analysis. Factor analysis is a statistical analysis. It was a system that helped reduce a large quantity of variables into smaller factors, in where Cattell is renowned for his theory of personality and discovery of the 16 underlying traits. Before that, Gordon Alport identified 4,500 traits, of which Cattell took the least to reduce it to 171 traits and identified 16 individual source traits that are central to his personality theory. According to Cattell, each person contains all of these 16 traits to a certain degree, but they may be high in some traits and low in others. Here are the 16 underlying traits, which is abstractedness, it's either your imaginative versus practical, apprehension, worth versus confident, dominance, forceful versus submissive, emotional stability, calm versus high-strung, liveliness, spontaneous versus restrained, openness to change, flexible versus attached to the familiar, perfectionism, controlled versus undisciplined, privateness, discreet versus open, reasoning, abstract versus concrete, rule conscious, conforming versus non-conforming, self-reliance, self-sufficient versus dependent, sensitivity, tender-hearted versus tough-minded, social boldness, uninhibited versus shy, tension, impatient versus relaxed, vigilance, suspicious versus trusting, warmth, outgoing versus reserved. Cattell has 9 ways of classifying traits, which as follows. Common traits. Everyone shares common traits to some degree. For example, everyone has some measure of intelligence or extroversion. Unique traits. Each of us has a unique trait that distinguishes us as individuals from others. For example, liking for politics or an interest in baseball. Ability traits or our skills and abilities to determine how well can we work towards our goals. temperament traits. Our emotions and feelings, whether we are assertive, fretful, or easygoing. It helps determine how we react to the people and situations in our environment. Dynamic traits, the forces that underlie our motivations and drive our behavior. Constitutional traits are source traits that have biological origins, such as the behaviors that result from drinking too much alcohol. Environmental mold traits, source traits that have environmental origins, such as the behaviors that result from the influence of friends, work environment, or neighborhood. Surface traits are clusters of overt behavior responses such as traits include integrity, honesty, self-discipline, and thoughtfulness. Source traits are the underlying variables that seem to determine the surface manifestations such as ego and strength. Focusing on either two or more traits help establish additional characteristics and behaviors of people. Every concept of personality cross away with each other, which creates a group of shared fundamental factors of traits known as syntality. Syntality is known as differentiation of groups. Syntality starts with a bigger picture, or also coined as family, then made to subgroup known as nations. Cattell's groundwork in factor analysis helped merge personality traits into what is known as the Big Five. But before we proceed to the Big Five, let's first look into McCrae and Costa's background. McCrae was born April 28, 1949 in Maryville, Missouri. The youngest of three children, grew up with an avid interest in science and mathematics. After completing an undergraduate degree in philosophy from Michigan State University, he earned a PhD in psychology from Boston University. Following the lead of Raymond Cattell, he began using factor analysis as means of measuring the structure of human traits. After completing his academic work, McCrae began working with Paul Costa at the National Institute of Health, where he is still employed. Paul T. Costa Jr. was born September 16 in Franklin, New Hampshire. He earned his undergraduate degree in psychology from Clark University and a PhD from University of Chicago. In 1978, he began working with Robert McCrae at the National Institute of Aging, where he continued to conduct research on human development and aging. The collaboration between Costa and McCrae has been unusually fruitful, with well over 200 co-authored research articles and chapters in several books. As late as 1983, McCrae and Costa were arguing for the three-factor model of personality, which is neuroticism, extroversion, and openness, but by 1985 they began to report to work on the five factors of personality, having added agreeableness and conscientiousness. Costa and McCrae did not fully develop the ANC scales until the revised Neo-Pi personality inventory appeared in 1992. In addition, the five factors show some permanence with age, that is, adults tend to maintain a consistent personality structure as they grow. Let's start with the O of ocean, which is openness. The subtraits found in openness are fantasy, aesthetics, feelings, actions, ideas, and values. Openness is a great trait to have because it involves curiosity to the world. It is about being creative, imaginative, and having the willingness to talk about ethical and social viewpoints. People who score low on this scale usually don't break out of their comfort zone very often. The idea of new things makes them uncomfortable. C. Conscientiousness. The subtraits in conscientiousness are competence, order, dutifulness, achievement striving, self-discipline, and deliberation. In most cases, these qualities are closely tied to an individual's goal and achievements, and sometimes related to obsessive compulsive disorders. People who score low in terms of conscientiousness are usually more likely to let things happen without planning or organizing. Or on the extremities, some psychologists call this as impulsiveness. Extroversion. The subtraits found in extroversion are warmth, gregariousness, assertiveness, activity excitement, and positive emotions. These individuals are outgoing and optimistic and are the social butterflies of the groups. Agreeableness. The subtraits found in agreeableness are trust, straightforwardness, altruism, compliance, modesty, and tender-mindedness. These are found in individuals who cares for others and finds an importance in others' well-being. These people are kind by nature. And neuroticism. The subtraits found in neuroticism are anxiety, angry, hostility, depression, self-consciousness, impulsiveness, and vulnerability. This shows a rather negative perspective of a human behavior. Other negative traits includes awkwardness, jealousy, and oversensitivity. This entails that people's cognitive abilities can be more irrational than others. Stress is one of the factors that may cause someone to encompass these undesirable characteristics. Also, those who score high in neuroticism are at high risk for psychopathologies such as depression, anxiety, or paranoia. Personality psychology is always evolving. In addition, there is a new development called the honesty humility trait. The subtrait in honesty humility are sincere, honest, and faithful. The ocean model is turned into hexagon model in where the E extroversion stands for X now and the N neuroticism stands for E emotionality and turns into a hexagon model.